Hi, I'm Danya,
And I'm Shaheen.
and you're listening to or watching.
Reality Woo Woo.
It's not something to believe in.
It's something to talk about.
And on today's episode, we have our good friend Michelle Wang joining us. We are going to be talking about the zodiac sign, the astrology of A24 films. So hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Moo. Favorite Taurus.
Your favorite Taurus. Yeah, birthday twins. How
Yeah,
and
we share a
you
birthday.
guys discovered that pretty early on in your relationship too.
It's
One of the first things I
Yeah.
learned about Shaheen.
she was applying for a job and somehow we got on a call at a dog park and I convinced her to take the job and we bonded over having a birthday and then we hardly worked together, but fun experiences. Tauruses bond fast.
Yeah,
That's
definitely. There's like a foundation of it. And I think with the A24 films, I'm going to be honest, like our methodology for this was just like compiling in a Google Doc, of course, very organized as Earth signs are, on which films we've seen and just kind of going through them that way. But Michelle, what kind of draws you to A24 films specifically, but film in general? Like when did you kind of figure out, you were into this stuff?
Yeah, so I got interested in film probably my first year of college, which is just not a great time to figure out what you want to do. But I really remember, this is a very random movie, but it was like Silver Linings Playbook. I know that's like not the most.
No,
like,
it's a David O. Russell film. It's a good one. Yeah.
And it's I wouldn't say it's like a film buff's like top movie, but it was a movie that I was like, wow, I really am so interested in like the way that it was written, like how it was directed, like the acting, and kind of like the narrative of it all. And I was like, this is a very interesting like kind of piece of art, and like I never saw film that way until I watched that movie. But I've always been interested in like making like little videos as a kid. Like I would do that with my sister. We would make like camcorder videos with like little toy figurines and like act them out. They would have like little scripts. Yeah.
I love that.
That's
so
like
cute.
going to the grave kind of stuff. Like we're not showing that to anyone else.
I definitely used to make movies with friends too. Like that was on our digital cameras, also early 2000s, but
Yeah.
never with like figurines. There was never like a script that way. It was like, about us, like our faces. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would also love to like, I don't know if you guys did this as a kid, but like play pretend, like in elementary school, where you would like run around and like assume like a new persona.
Yeah.
Totally. I would choose
created
which
worlds.
Yes.
powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a whole world. Like when it was like, I remember being in the 4th grade and I was like, okay, when we are in, and that's why we all grew up and became creatives, because it was like when we get inside of the track, like the track where you would run laps, we're in a different world.
Yes.
And in this world, we're these characters and you can't break that. Like,
I love
what a
that. I could
bossy
see
little
you.
fucking kid. Can you imagine being my
Yeah, I
friend
could
when
see
we were
that.
9? Yeah. And like and I would also, I wrote music. I wrote songs after the Spice, and I wrote a whole play based on Spice World, the movie, the Spice Girls movie.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that was like the age for me, 8, 9. I was like, I think I had read so many books at that age. I was like, I'm ready to make my own shit. Like,
Yes.
it
Yes.
sparks kind of early, the storytelling, right? And it just comes out
Exactly.
in different ways. Yeah, I used to make books. I used to like, I don't know if you made books in class. I like would buy them from my teachers. I'd be like, do we have any extras? And I would go home and like type things and print them and put them into the books. It was a lot.
It's so funny. As in design school, I had to make books. It was not fun though. It was totally work and different. I was though in a movie in high school. I was never involved in film or anything, but friends of mine who were involved in film asked me to be in a movie. And at the time I went by the name Sean, and they titled the movie Sean. And it was about a kid who loved photography and had like a psychotic best friend who convinced him to steal a truck. It was a weird thing, but it won an award.
Wow.
Not a
Oh my
real one,
gosh.
like a fake one. I won Best Actor at that year's like acting award thing. It was called a Judy, and named after the teacher, Judy Daniels. And
Wow.
she spray painted Barbies like gold.
Can I ask
Yeah.
before because we'll get into the films in a second, but
Yeah.
can I ask everyone, what was your middle school art teacher's name? I was having a conversation about this the other day. Mine,
No
remember my
clue.
middle
No
school.
I don't think
idea.
I even had like a
My high school, I
separate-
remember his name
Yeah,
was
we
Myron
didn't have a separate art
Stevens.
teacher. I think in middle school.
no. Oh, mine was
What's
Miss
yours?
Bailey. I was trying to prove a point that they were all like hippie white women. Like she was really into pottery.
Sounds like mine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
5th grade teacher was like kind of hippie. white
was
woman.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
wore like big jean shirts always. It was like
Mm.
it was like a vibe. Definitely
Yeah.
a vibe. Okay, well, I mean, we can move into, we didn't get to this part of the question. We just went off on our like
Ugh.
story world building tangents. But
Yeah,
what drew you to A24 films specifically? Maybe like, do you remember the first one you saw?
Oh gosh, I don't remember the first one I saw, but my favorite that I can say right now is like Moonlight.
Oh, So
And
good.
I took a film class in college, and I ended up writing like one of my final like research papers on Barry Jenkins.
oh wow.
And he had like a his first movie was Medicine for Melancholy, and it is like the most it is like so crazy to see like the difference between that film and Moonlight. It was like night and day. Like it seemed like he had gained like 20 years of wisdom and then made Moonlight.
I'm sure. I mean, I guess it's not every director is that way, obviously, but like, it is a fast learning curve, right? Like, you do learn, like, until you start making it and you kind of have the budget, it's like there's so many things that can go wrong on, in the production of anything, really.
Yeah. But it also kind of it shocks me because like a lot of filmmakers don't have the opportunities to make a lot of movies all the time. So you don't really get the chance to kind of like fail and then like, try again and again and again. It seems like
That's true.
It's an expensive
so
craft.
it is crazy. Like when someone makes, maybe it's just like the films we don't see, that never make it anywhere.
Yeah.
That could be it too. But I guess to finally answer your question, why I love A24 is that I feel like and this is such an answer from me, but it's like they have such a consistent brand like voice, and I felt like everything they made, at least what initially drew me to their whole like filmography, were like coming of age stories. Like Lady Bird was another movie that I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like
I still haven't seen Lady Bird. I got to because I live in Sacramento, but like,
yeah,
haven't seen it still.
and it was just like such a they had such a way about like doing those films, and I was like, oh, I want to watch more of these. But I think then I realized like the through line of all A24 movies is that they kind of like chase after, I think, the more like nascent filmmakers that are like taking risks. And I think A24 prides itself on that, is that like we're not afraid to go there.
Yeah,
And
to do
that's
some
what
weird
also
stuff.
attracts filmmakers to A24.
Yeah.
So they kind of created this like environment that is like very like kind of like nurturing of that.
Yeah, I agree. And totally to your, we're all brand people, and like, but for me, like, I like Wes Anderson, for instance, but it's too much the same, right? Like, it's too much of everything looking the same, where A24, there's flexibility in the palette. Everything is not exactly the same, but yes, they have a feel that's similar, even if they're, a crazy horror film, or like, a more coming of age, like, Lady Bird. Or for me, the first A24 film I had ever seen was The Spectacular Now. And that was also, that was the first movie I saw by myself in my early 20s, and I went to go see it at the ArcLight in Hollywood. And I don't know, it was just nice. I was in a phase of my life where I was like, this is the type of person that I am. I'm the type of person who goes to the movies by herself, and I'm always going to be that type of person. So yeah, it's nice because it reflects sort of what you're going through sometimes in life, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's jump into our first film. We're gonna talk about Spring Breakers first, and so I don't know. That's a good one.
Like a noise that I have to say with Spring Breakers, right?
Have you? Okay. Let's go around. I've seen it. Shaheen, have you seen it?
I've seen the trailer.
That's
looks,
kind of all you need.
That's like watching it.
It didn't
yeah,
make
it's
me want
basically
to
like
watch it.
watching
I remember the trailer. I watched it again before this just to check, and I was like, "Yep, still don't really want to see
Still the
it."
same.
But I'm open.
Yeah. Michelle, do you want to give us just kind of like an overall vibe check on what Spring Breakers like is and feels like when you're watching it?
I think I heard someone talk about this movie, but it's with a lot of like ex Disney stars.
Yeah.
Like Vanessa Hudgens, Selena Gomez, Ashley Benson.
And it's James Franco, right? Who's like
Yes.
bringing them into this like weird weird world with
Who's,
violence.
like grooming them.
Yes. Quite
Yes.
Yeah. Quite literally grooming them. Yeah.
Right, Franco Lee.
Yeah. I asked ChatGPT for like a vivid description, and it says
that's
a
funny.
wild neon lit journey into the debaucherous world of spring break, filled with vibrant colors, pulsating music, and a sense of reckless abandon. It explores the dark underbelly of youth culture and excess, blending hedonism with a hint of social commentary. When this came out in like 2013, probably
2013.
somewhere around there. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the vibe. There's like hedonistic excess.
Interesting.
And yeah, we talked
A time
about
when Paris Hilton ruled the earth.
No, this is post Paris Hilton. Like this is like late after. So
Lindsay?
it's Vanessa Hudgens is the main Disney star. She's a Sagittarius in real life, but very known for being like the queen of Coachella for the longest time. Selena Gomez, Cancer, and Selena Gomez goes home pretty early. Am I remembering that
I
correctly?
don't remember. I watched this movie like years ago.
A long time ago.
I knew that I
Yeah,
just didn't like it.
One of them like kind of like bitches out basically, like is like
Okay.
it's too much party for me, and I'm pretty sure it's Selena Gomez's character because she was still trying. I mean, first of all, that kind of like fits with her in general,
Yeah.
but also I think she, to your point earlier, Michelle, like it was a lot of Disney stars, but she was still trying to play like, and she still tries to play it today, like I'm a good girl, like I could never do anything bad, so I think she's in the beginning of the movie, but I don't think she makes it all the way through to like the threesomes on the beach or like the hardcore. Like Vanessa Hudgens really went all in for this.
And that just tracks for her, I feel like.
Yeah. James Franco is a Taurus, if anyone wanted to know that. The director is a Capricorn.
Nice.
And Ashley Benson is also a Sagittarius. So that's definitely why the Cancer went home, but the two Sages stayed and did some weird stuff. So in general, I don't know. I'm going to give you what ChatGPT said the zodiac sign of the movie in general is. It says it's an Aries because the film is bold, adventurous, and impulsive. And
That's fun.
Yeah, that does track for me. I actually feel good about that.
I mean,
Yeah.
James's character, I think his name is Alien.
Yes.
I was like, okay, Aries.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is a lot. And like what an interesting choice, that like voice he chose, and just so much about it.
Yeah.
I also
Okay.
had this feeling that the whole vibe of the movie, feeling so destructive and like impulsive and fiery, it felt like just a bond between Sagittarius and Aries. And then it was
Yes.
proven, as you guys were like, the cast is mostly Sagittarius.
It is. Yeah. It's like, don't ask questions. We're just going. That's totally the whole vibe of this of situation. Okay. The next movie we have on our list is The Bling Ring, which does have Paris Hilton in it, Shaheen. So get excited for
Is
this
it?
one.
Is it time?
I've seen it. Michelle, have you seen it?
I
No.
have not.
Oh, Shaheen, have you seen it?
I've not seen it.
Okay.
No.
Well, then
Nor have I seen the trailer.
I'll have so much fun explaining this to you then. So the
Okay.
Bling ring is based on actual crimes in the early 2000s when a group of teenagers in the Los Angeles area started breaking
I have
into
seen the
celebrity homes. There was
Okay.
also a reality show about it because the people on the her name was like Alexis Nears, who I think Emma Watson plays in the film. And so they were people who, and this is very much of that time in Los Angeles, like you knew what parties Lindsay Lohan and Paris Hilton and people were at, so you knew that their houses were unlocked. And I mean, not unlocked, but they knew that these houses were unoccupied. Exactly.
Right.
So these kids started breaking into these homes and they were known, you know, named by the media the Bling ring. So they turned it into an A24 film, very entertaining, starring Emma Watson, a Taurus. Paris Hilton is in the film as like, I think she plays herself. And she's an Aquarius, obviously. The main like male character, Israel Bassard, is a Leo. And I'll just give you the ChatGPT like overview of the movie. An audacious and stylish film that delves into the lives of fame-obsessed teenagers who become involved in a string of high-profile celebrity burglaries. With its glamorous aesthetics, catchy soundtrack, and biting satire, it captures the allure and emptiness of materialistic culture, basically like the early 2000s in general. And ChatGPT, and I agree with this one too, thinks this movie's a Leo because it's glamorous, attention-seeking, and flamboyant is what it's giving.
Interesting.
That makes a lot of sense.
I have
agree.
a thought.
Yes.
I was thinking that it sounds kind of like, and maybe this is me being a Taurus trying to throw Libras under the bus, but maybe this movie is a Libra because it sounds like a lot of, you said a couple of Tauruses are acting in it, or maybe just Emma Watson.
Yeah, Emma Watson.
But the materialism and the like, it seems like the bad side of Taurus trying to like
The Venus energy.
collect assets from others and in this fame obsessed way is not very like Taurus-y fame obsessed, but
And it's it's like a little bit of a gossipy kind of film, definitely.
yeah, it's diva energy, which Tauruses represent oh so well.
Yeah, and I mean, but you think it's a Libra, not a Taurus.
Yeah, just because I didn't want to say Taurus.
Yeah.
But I also vibe with Leo energy. It seems like that. I just think that's kind of like easy answer.
It is an easy answer, but I like Libra better than Taurus because it definitely is. There's a mean girl vibe to it, and it's definitely in the mean girl era. And there's a little bit of like, you can't sit with us energy. Like but they're outsiders kind of themselves. I think I'm gonna switch to Libra. We're gonna say the Bling ring is a Libra, which I like. Okay, going next movie on our list, which I actually saw last night, Ex Machina, just to prep for this. And both of you have seen it, yes?
Yes. Great movie.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. It was really, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Do you want to give an overview, Michelle?
Sure. Yeah. So this one is centered around a programmer, right, who goes to like this CEO's like mansion because he like wins a contest.
Shaheen, I was texting Shaheen that I was watching it. Shaheen, what did you say about this?
I said I would love to greet people in my mansion the way that this psycho like scientist, I don't know what his title is, but like the tech genius, the way he's like boxing and all sweaty in like the middle of his mansion, that I would love for guests to arrive in my house, and that's how I greet them.
Perfect.
It's the evil genius side of me.
Totally.
Yeah.
So he's like this kind of like this engineering genius who's created like a robot, or like an artificial intelligence, who has passed what's called like a Turing test. And that is basically like, I guess a test for AI to see like whether they are able to like comprehend or like have consciousness in a way.
Yeah.
And so like the main protagonist, Caleb, he begins to develop this relationship with the robot Ava, and
Ava. I
Ava.
have to say it like that.
And
No, that's not what she talks like. That's Wally. But continue.
Is it Evie?
Evie, Eva. I don't know.
Similar,
I was just
yeah.
taking it there.
But I listened to this really great like film essay YouTuber, Lessons from the Screenplay, and he talks about he does a really good video essay on this movie about how it's a very good film for its use of like controlling information and what it is revealing to the audience.
Interesting.
I highly recommend it. But people have said that it's a movie where it's kind of just like this, it's just one single conversation, right? It's a movie that's just this drawn out conversation, which is kind of true because it's like kind of about Ava and Caleb and how they learn about each other as the movie grows.
Yeah.
But I would love your like take on it, Danya, and what you thought of it.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought what stood out to me was like stylistically, like what the and ChatGPT we used AI to talk about the AI. It combines minimalist aesthetics, intense performances, and thought-provoking narrative to explore themes of humanity, consciousness, and power. And yeah, I love like the visuals of it. And when I looked up Alicia Vikander, it made sense. She's a Libra. She's who plays the AI, and that made sense. I'm like, yeah, she's like so gorgeous, but a little empty. You know what I mean? So it made sense for me. Yeah. And
those
then
people
like
play robots really well.
yeah. Oscar Isaac as like he's a Pisces in real life, and that makes sense, right? Because he has such range as an actor, and like he came on screen and my boyfriend was like, who's that guy? Like, we've seen it. I'm like, that's Oscar Isaac. But it's like we just like kind of forget because he's so great in he's the hero in so many things, and he's like such a sleaze bag in this one, you know?
Are we are we judging these like are we judging the actors for what their zodiac signs are, or like the characters they play?
To the story, I think.
No, I'm just giving you the info. I'm like, here are the components. Here's like the vibes. Like here's what the actors are, and so how does that contribute to the overall like sense, tone, feel of the film, and how to like what's the zodiac sign of the film?
Okay, cool.
And then Domhnall Gleeson, the Caleb's character, he's a Taurus. So we've got some water, we've got some air, we've got some earth. And ChatGPT thinks that Ex Machina is a Virgo, the film, as in general, because it's analytical, intellectual, and precise. And
a little bit psychotic. Controlling.
And a serial killer. yeah. I'm with it.
Yeah.
Aesthetically,
is that,
it's
like, agreed? Is a
fun.
Virgo agreed upon to be the most like anal sign? Like,
no, like earth signs in general are
Okay.
but so like as you both know, like Tauruses can be also very rigid.
Yes.
And Virgos are very analytical.
but in our own special way.
in your own special way.
In our beautiful way, our artsy way.
Virgos we tend to think that everyone is like incompetent, and that can come out. So like that's why people think we're like control freaks, because we like don't hide the fact that we think other people are stupid. And like Capricorns are also very controlling and very analytical, but they won't even bother with people. They're just like, I'm just gonna do it. Like they won't even bother. Whereas like Virgos I think get the rap for it because we work with people, but we also let them know that like their incompetence is intolerable. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, I do find the film it gave me a Virgo vibe because it was really like clean lines and precise.
I really like that guess. Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was like all fixed signs because it seems kind of like stubbornly like a Taurus, but also this focus around like humanity and power and justice and freedom and control.
And
it
what
sounds like an
constitutes-
Aquarius.
Yeah, it is a little Aquarian. Like it,
Yeah.
but it's not like fluid enough. It does.
No, definitely not. You saying Virgo kind of like solidified all fixed sign energy, and so like more
it
energy.
feels like there was always a plan. even if
Yeah.
we as the
Yeah.
audience don't know what that plan was,
Yeah, there's a
and
lot
we
of
don't
control.
and we
Okay.
don't know who was in control. Yeah.
Yeah, I go with
Question.
Virgo for sure.
Yes.
So, are we also like doing like these are like minor spoilers, I guess, for
Oh,
the movies.
These
but
movies are
mean,
yeah,
these
okay.
movies
That's
are also
fair.
old. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Your fault if
The
you're
whole
listening.
episode
Like-
is a spoiler. Yeah.
So Ava at one point like begins like manipulating Caleb, and like what? So I thought like what kind of like energy is she putting out to like in order to trick
Sounds like a
him into
Virgo
believing
or
that,
Cancer.
like-
Yeah.
is it or is
Yeah,
it
I don't-
like
But what I mean, like we could debate, I think, Ex Machina the whole time because I don't know. She was originally manipulating him because of like what Oscar Isaac's character, right? Like that was a game they were playing of like you're gonna trick him in this way, right? But then when she sees Kyoko, the like assistant who doesn't talk, who's also spoiler alert AI, I think that triggered something in her. She was like, "Oh, I got to get out of here." Like I actually don't know if that was her goal all along, but we don't know.
right?
We don't. That actually is like that's up for debate. We don't know, and I kind of don't think that she would. I think maybe she really did. I don't know if she ever liked Caleb, but I don't know. I think at one point the ends to the means was like, oh, because Oscar Isaac told me to, and then it switched where she was like, oh, I can continue to manipulate him to get out of here.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
never loved him.
I almost
Oh.
part of me feels this is so like not fair to think because we're talking about astrology, but maybe astrology doesn't affect AI.
AI. Yeah.
Which is like
Or is all
stupid to say.
is all of AI are they all Geminis?
Yeah, like they're all Aquarius and Gemini and maybe some Libras every now and then. Who
Yes. Actually,
knows?
wow.
They're all air signs. But
That actually tracks so hard
Because
for
they
me.
won't shut
All.
up.
They won't shut up, or they're like kind of just pretty but nothing up here, and they're all like
Yeah.
futuristic
maybe.
and want to like change the world, and maybe for the better, maybe for the worst. Who knows?
But does that say
knows?
more about the creators, like who made the AI, than like
The creators were probably
Creators.
air signs or the
Yeah.
leaders.
I mean, Elon
of
Musk
the,
is a Gemini. Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of this all tracks. This all
Yeah.
tracks.
Some earth signs actually were in the production phase of making the AI though. Like that's where the hard work happened. Anyways.
That's true. That's true. That's where the doing was.
Yeah, that's where the doing happened.
Okay. Our next. I feel like we could have a whole other podcast on Ex Machina. But to move on to our next film, I have not seen the next one, The Lobster, with Colin Farrell, who's a Gemini, Rachel Weisz, who's a Pisces, and Olivia Colman, who's an Aquarius. Do you guys want to clue me in on what is The Lobster about? A lot of people talk about this movie, but I've never seen it.
I have
Something you wanna
ChatGPT short descriptions of each movie now. I can just start with that. In a dystopian society, single people are given 45 days to find a romantic partner or else they are transformed into an animal of their choice. A recently single man, Colin Farrell, checks into a motel where he must navigate the peculiar rules and rituals of the place while desperately seeking a connection. And spoiler alert, he wants to be a lobster if he doesn't find his lover.
The Lobster. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Michelle, do you have any other color to add to that? That was a really basic, non-spoiler alert kind of
that's a really
description.
good
But
one.
I actually lost kind of like some of the context too. I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, it's a very strange and quirky movie. And I don't think it's everyone's cup of tea because I could
Really?
definitely like see some people watching it be like, what is like the point
What
of
the fuck
this?
is this?
It's
And this is so
confusing, yeah.
slow and like I'm so bored, but like
Mhm.
I think
It's
it was really
thoughtful.
interesting and I enjoyed it. And I was going through like the Letterboxd reviews to just like see kind of like what people are saying about it now.
What
and
the vibe was. Yeah.
so
How
one
old
of
is
the
this? When did this come out? 2014 maybe? It's like a little bit older.
I'm not sure. But
2015.
2015.
But one
Okay.
of the top comments was fuck your zodiac sign. What animal would you want to be turned into?
That's fair.
Which I feel like we all have
That's
to
really
answer
fair.
that now. Like,
Yeah, we definitely
what?
do.
I have to think about this.
I have to be a falcon because my name means falcon.
Okay.
And if I wasn't that, then maybe an elephant.
Oh, that's so majestic. I like that. I would like to be a golden retriever in a family in Connecticut.
I love that. I
Very
love
specific.
that. I want
That's
to change both my
very-
answers to that.
Very
Comfort. Yeah.
I want to be loved and
Comfort.
taken care of and
Yeah.
not do anything.
Mhm.
That sounds great.
That's the life, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I would
Big
be similar.
fur coat.
You'd be
But maybe
similar.
maybe a cat, like a house cat.
A house cat.
Yeah.
Like a really beautiful cat. Like, I want things, but leave me alone. I
Yeah.
kind of like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so the guess of this one is that it's an Aquarius. Like you described it as like this isn't everyone's cup of tea, and some people absolutely hate it, and that's like kind of spot on. It's eccentric, unconventional, and thought provoking. So I like that. I see
That's
that.
funny. I actually.
Yeah, unconventional, and it's very cerebral, that movie. You have to kind of listen and like consider.
Consider.
You have to like break, what's it called when you like you remove the fourth wall, or
Mhm.
what's
You
the word?
break the
When you-
fourth wall.
But you're like open to magic of
Oh,
storytelling.
suspend disbelief.
Yeah, suspend belief. That you got
Oh.
to do that with this
Okay.
movie. I used the wrong metaphor to begin with.
I got you.
That's
Thank you.
okay. Any other thoughts on the lobster?
Maybe it's a Cancer because it's crustaceous. And I also thought maybe it could be a Capricorn because it's like kind of it's a dry movie. It's like
kind of the
it's
opposite of like
it's-
Spring Breakers.
it's mature too.
It's the opposite of Spring Breakers. I like that.
Yeah.
Like where
Yeah.
Spring Breakers is about like indulgence. It's like this movie
Yeah.
is like, oh, you're actually not allowed to do anything unless it's
Mhm.
like part
Yeah.
of the rules.
Yeah, it's very rigid. And like Spring Breakers is like open. You don't know how it's gonna end. Who knows what's gonna happen. But
Yeah.
with the lobster, you get this sense of like, why am I watching this? I'm sure by the end it'll wrap
We
itself
know.
up in some sort of way.
Yeah. Why am I watching this?
Yeah.
That, you know what? That's giving me Capricorn vibes for
Yeah.
sure. Why am I here? Why
There's
am I
a point to this
involved in
for
this?
sure,
Somebody else
but-
can take care of this, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that makes sense for me.
There's a plan.
Okay, our next movie is Moonlight, which Michelle, you kind of touched on already, is like very special to you. We've all seen it on this call. The description I have is that it's a poetic and tender coming of age drama that weaves together 3 defining chapters of a young African American's life. It explores themes of identity, sexuality, and masculinity with incredible sensitivity and raw emotions. I love that as a description. And
Good. Good bot.
yeah.
I know what I want to guess already too. Just based on that.
Mahershala Ali is an Aquarius. He, the person, the actor. Yes, I have a guess because pretty much all I remember from Moonlight are like the scenes in the ocean with the the actual literal moonlight like
Yeah.
Yeah.
rippling on the waves. I think it's a Pisces, and
Interesting.
and that's what ChatGPT thinks too, because it's sensitive, introspective, and emotionally profound. It's very it's reflective. Like that's literally like the image I take away from that movie is like that kind of like amorphous, reflective at night kind of vibe. But I'd love to hear what you guys think.
I was thinking Moonlight felt kind of like a Scorpio. Definitely a water sign and reflective, but there's a darkness and there's like a getting in touch with your inner self in a personal way, which also feels really Pisces-y. I see your point.
Yeah, no, I like what you're saying though about Scorpio, because it does explore
It's a dark
themes
movie. It's
about
not
sexuality too.
There's no hearts in its eyes about the beauty in life. I mean, there might be a little bit, but
Yeah.
I also said Scorpio because I think there's like this this dark kind of shadow in the movie.
Wow.
And it's not like, I don't know, maybe this is like that glass half full, glass half empty kind of like approach.
Maybe, yeah.
Is that like, I don't even know if that's how you evaluate. But like, it seems like Scorpio and Pisces are like similar in the sense that like they feel deeply, right? Is that what I'm
Yes,
getting
yes,
at?
yeah. They do. Yeah.
And his name in the movie is Chiron, which is like the, what is that in
Wound.
astrology?
It's
like the
wounded
wound.
healer.
Yeah, your
But that is more connected to Scorpio for sure.
Yeah.
That the wound part of us, that
Right.
dark part. Oh.
Mhm.
But
Okay,
also
I'm with
this
you.
movie is very
Played
like
by a Pisces.
There's like fragmented identities within this character, right? So there's like and also at different stages of his life he kind of goes through different phases of identity and like moving about life, and like even his name, he takes a different name for like each part of his, you know, like adolescence and then like teenage and then like adult life.
That sounds like a Pisces thing to do.
Like try on different personas.
Yeah, just like move around through different
Yeah.
context switchings.
I do feel like Scorpios know who they are their whole lives,
Yeah.
but and that's it, actually. I think
And that's
Scorpios
it.
really know who they are, and I think
Yeah,
that they
for
know
sure.
in certain spaces they have to hide that a little bit, but I don't think Scorpios find themselves. I think they find like an environment where they're able to be themselves, but they know who they are. Where I think the rest of us
They're on a
find ourselves.
journey.
We're discovering, I think, who we are, and we're kind of peeling that back over time and returning to different things. And I think Scorpios have a very strong sense of self.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Tauruses just lie to ourselves saying that we know ourselves until we're confronted with other truths.
Is that true, Michelle? Do you feel that way as well?
Oh, will not comment.
Not
that a Taurus thing
today
to
for
do?
answering.
No, that's, I mean, yeah, that's, okay. We have two final films for this first part episode because we had so many that we wanted to chat about. We're going to do a part 2. But we're going from sad to sad because the next film we have here is The Florida Project. And The Florida Project is, depressing for me personally. Shaheen, you haven't seen it, right?
I've not seen it, no.
Okay.
It sounds happy.
It does, right? Like, because Florida's like chaos. Spring
must
Breakers
be,
is
like,
also set in Florida, but
fun things going on.
completely different.
They have monsteros on the sidewalk in Florida. Like, the weather is gorgeous sometimes.
Yeah.
When it's not on the news, it's gorgeous.
Let me describe this to you, though. So it's a vibrant and bittersweet portrait of childhood set in the impoverished outskirts of Orlando, Florida. Through the eyes of a precocious young girl and her friends, it presents a world filled with wonder, imagination, and hardship. So that's kind of the whole thing, is that they live in, it's a motel on basically like, it's near Disney World. So you've got all of these people coming in, you know, to have the most magical visit of their life. But really what's lurking kind of on the outskirts of that is like so many kids who will never live that life, who will never be able to kind of experience that. And the little girl in it, they're not actors, right? I think it's kind of like American Honey vibe, where no one was an actor except Willem Dafoe. Plays like, what is he? He's not the owner. He's like the
property manager.
Property manager. Yeah. So he's like the only famous person in the movie. And this makes sense to me. Willem Dafoe is a Cancer, and that makes sense. He does have there's a lot of emotions there, and as an actor, he's really good at manipulating our emotions. So, I like that. I don't know, what is there anything that stands out? Kind of reading this description, it does remind me, like, I don't know, I find the movie so ugly, but it is vibrant.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of like untangling that you have to do with this movie, because like I don't remember all the details of it. I do remember like that it was like a huge exploration on like class divide.
Yeah.
And like even, the fact that it was set next to Disneyland, it's like, oh yeah, like what you want is like out of your reach. It's so close, but it's out of your reach. And like you can see it, but you can't touch it. And like that is very like gut wrenching.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
it is.
Yeah.
And that's like the reality of so many people's lives, you know? Yeah, it's tough. The film, or ChatGPT thinks that overall the film is a cancer, that it's nurturing, nostalgic, and family oriented. And I would agree with that. I think the bright
Sounds like
spots the bright spots in the film are the connections, right? And it's kind of, you do want to look at that for a second and go, is it, you know, is consumerism like the end all be all? Like, should we be sad that this little girl never goes to this like giant tourist trap? Or is it more like, well, her mom really loves her, and this, you know, Willem Dafoe's character is like really looks out for them, and I don't know, there definitely is this like love and care and community aspect to the film.
True. It's like, should we be pitying them
because they don't
like,
get to go to Disneyland and spend $1,000 on like bullshit? Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
They live in a motel. Like, should I, like, you know? But are they happy? Like, I think that's like an interesting. Question.
Yeah. I think we can answer like struggling doesn't bring anyone happiness, but yeah, these other themes, it's like, well, what do we value as a society, and do they have some of these things? Yeah, they do have care and community and connection, and ultimately, you know, that does give this little girl a fighting chance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I actually kind of like
that.
Thanks. Okay, our last movie is a fun one. Thank God. we can end on a fun one. Lady Bird. So Shaheen, you've not seen it.
Not seen it. People haven't given me fun as a first descriptor.
It's
usually,
definitely fun. It's definitely
cool.
fun.
That makes me want to watch it.
Yeah, it's okay. So ChatGPT calls it a heartfelt and authentic coming of age story centered around a rebellious teenage girl navigating her final year of high school. And I think for me, I mean, there's so many memorable scenes in Lady Bird, but like the movie starts, Shaheen, and she jumps out of her mom's moving car and like sprains her or breaks her arm. And that's like a part of the movie for, you know, a while, reckless. Is her with the cast. Yeah, definitely reckless. And then there's like her, you know, losing her virginity, and like it's definitely one of those
Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
What a treat.
Oh gosh. Yeah. And her like gay boyfriend, Lucas Hedges. Like it's good. It's really good. It reminds me, have you ever read The Girls? Also set in Sacramento.
No.
And it's because I feel like Sacramento is, and Joan Didion grew up in Sacramento as well, like one of the, you know, greatest writers of our time. And it's just like Sacramento is such a good like suburb. Like it gives you, and it like it gives itself as a landscape of like, you have everything, but you're bored out of your mind. So you want to get into trouble, you know? There's definitely.
I love it.
And that's the theme of the movie for sure. And there's class shit in it as well, right?
Yeah.
Like there's definitely, she feels like, you know,
guilty for wanting more,
and her family's like working class, but they're fine because they live in Sacramento and they have enough. And there's definitely a lot of that. Yeah, there's she struggles with being
as a teen.
That she feels smarter than kind of everyone around her. There's that, which I relate to.
Sounds like Virgo.
Yeah, Virgo.
She's
a Leo.
So her character, because she's pretty self-centered. She is, very. Actually, though, Michelle, she could be a Capricorn. Maybe she's she's too impulsive. But I just say Capricorn because Capricorn is like. They're more like cerebral Leos. They're also very goal oriented, and they're very goal oriented.
Yeah, describe that.
The actress, so Saoirse Ronan is a Taurus. Timothée Chalamet is a Capricorn. Lucas Hedges is a Sagittarius, and Laurie Metcalf, who plays the mom, is a Gemini. And she's so good as the mom, and I think she was nominated for, I think, like best supporting act. Like she does a hell of a job as the mom, because she does all of the scales of it, right? Like we're describing to you that, you know, the daughter is self-centered and really focused on like going to college and like being, you know, she wants to get away from her family, and like there's definitely that like that push away, but you see the emotions of the parents. And I do think that as when we're teenagers, we forget that our parents are human beings, and they really are trying their best no matter what, you know, no matter how fucked up it feels to you. Nobody taught them how to be a parent, and they're just trying to figure it out. And you definitely see that with her mom's character. Like her mom is like, I'm trying my fucking best here, and and you're not appreciating it, and that hurts my feelings. And there's that, you know, and I think that's very real.
I feel like
this movie sounds like a Leo to me.
The movie sounds like a Leo. The whole thing sounds like a Leo to you. Okay.
That's what I got.
You thought that too? You thought, okay, interesting.
But I actually,
you could go,
I categorized Lady Bird and her mom as the same sign because I feel like they clash because they clash so much. Yeah. That I mean, I think also in the movie, like the dad says at one point, like, oh, you're so much like your mother, and like this is why, right? Like this is why you guys like fight a lot. It's because you're so similar. Yeah. And so I wonder if that, you know, I feel like there are similarities in the way that they act and kind of their temperament and passive aggressive tendencies,
behavior. Like, it is a little childish for sure.
I was thinking that the movie itself felt like a Leo because it's coming of age, and it's like an egotistical sign, but it's like a self-focused sign. Like there's a period in time where we all kind of do have to focus on ourselves and learn and grow and make choices.
And it is fun. We did throw that out there. It's the vibes are good with this movie. Like you want to watch this movie, good. You know?
It also sounds pretty carefree, like a Sagittarius, this movie. It sounds kind of like reckless.
I like Sag, actually. I like Sag. I like Sag better than Leo because
jumping out of a car in the first scene and breaking your arm sounds like a Sagittarius thing.
That's a Sag move. Yeah. They don't think they're gonna die. They're like, whatever, I'll figure it out.
And they don't.
ChatGPT thinks that the movie is a Libra, and I agree. I think that's wrong. But the reason they say it's harmonious, which I don't think it is, it's artistic and it explores personal relationships. It does explore personal relationships. But yeah, I like where we landed. I think it gives more of a Leo vibe or Sag. It could give Sag because she thinks she's smarter than everyone, and Leos don't think they're smarter but they're like, I'm philosophical. I get things that you don't. There is that. And
Leo needs the validation. Sagittarius doesn't.
Yeah.
As much.
I don't know. She's searching for validation though. Like she's trying to fit in.
She's finding out how to search for it.
I think we're gonna settle on Leo. Yeah, Lady Bird is Leo.